So this is Door Kickers 2, and this is supposed to be the map 23 megabytes. This is the first room that you'll technically encounter. This is supposed to be the second floor, technically speaking, since you out of spawn, you have to climb upstairs to get up here. The stairs would be here, essentially, leading upward, and then there would be a staircase leading downward. So this is this kind of mock area. Generally speaking, you're always going to be going up the staircase and then going up into this spot where the first server room is. So with that said, let's show you how I would clear this with a group of 4, since 5 kind of overkill, I would say. Honestly, you can kind of clear this with 2 people, but I'll address that as I go through it. So let's just watch. So I do recommend stacking on the right side. Yes, that looks like something I just drew. Doesn't matter. Ignore that. The reason why I don't want you stacking here is because there is a very large sight line to a lot of targets immediately. And a lot of the time, because it is a great distance, you can end up dying pretty quickly, quite frankly. And I have seen people die here before. So your best bet is always stacking right. You can see this much into the room. This is usually there's like maybe 1 target most of the time. So stacking just a little bit off is totally fine. You don't need to be completely covered. But let's go through this. So you're going to open the door. Stinger or flash is perfectly acceptable. Try to aim for this entryway so that you can get as much stun, so that you can get this foothold. This is the foothold, obviously. It's the only foothold that we have. So we are going to flow into the room. Everyone's going to flow from the distance, pieing this section. Generally speaking, you can get a lot of engagement here, so you're just going to try to shoot and engage as much as you can once you're flowing through the room. This person is going to be holding that angle, and then you are going to push up on both sides. And this is important to note. If you are stacking up close to a door, you should not be the one throwing the grenade. This person throws the grenade. This person throws the grenade. So we stack up here. It's always nice to have a double stack. So one person covering another. So if one does take fire, they can back up. This person can take their spot. Generally speaking, that's a good principle to have. So we're going to throw a flashbang here. Generally speaking, this is a pretty easy thing to manage, but you're trying to get a foothold right here. And the safest way to do that is to clear this and then get the foothold with 1 person. Generally speaking, you don't need to be exactly right here. You can be anywhere in this vicinity, as long as you're covering this generalized area. This target is going to cover the hallway. This is where it can be very dangerous. So you need this person really diligently watching that hallway. So what you're going to do is you are going to try to cover this. Somebody's going to throw a stinger, preferably, since it's a bigger radius explosion, somewhere out here. Probably the further out, the better, because you're just trying to stun as much as possible. So you're going to do that. On detonation, you are going to have 1 person go in here while simultaneously 2 people stacking on this door. So you can cover, so you'll see that now. So 2 go this way, because this can be a very tricky area just because the visibility is so poor. And something that I haven't really addressed in Door Kickers 2 is elevation. You can't really account for elevation in Door Kickers 2, because technically speaking, this is the 2nd floor that you can see visually, but where these pillars are, obviously it's supporting another floor. So technically, if you imagine that above this floor that we're looking at right now, there is still another floor here. So you can get shot from all of these angles from the area above. So, and because it is like graded, it's hard to see, but they can see you. It's kind of bullshit, but you know, what are you going to do? So you are going to close this door before you do anything, and you're just going to back up. You can even back up here, so you're not getting seen by the targets from above. But generally speaking, you don't really want to deal with this until you've cleared all of these rooms. You can clear these rooms with 2 people. If you're experienced enough, you can usually clear it with 1, but a simple flashbang. If you're worried about any hostages, or if you hear a hostage, like usually there's it, Doc will say, "Oh, there's a hostage." You're like, "Oh, okay." And because you're only in this room, most of the time the hostage takes place here, right? Frankly, if there is another hostage, it's going to be out here, so don't worry about it. Usually they don't execute them until a good amount of time. But you're going to be covering this. This person's going to clear this room real quick, blah, blah, blah. You would secure him, but I can't secure the civilian that I've programmed into this one. And you're going to take this room, close the door whenever you are, like you can close this door once you're done with it, just so you can interact with this one. And this door was open, as you noticed. You can close it to later deal with it, as I just as I did with this one. But this is a pretty easy room to clear. It's very straightforward. You just look into the room once and you're basically good. They don't really, there's not really a spot here, so to hide for suspects. Here, I would not recommend going out here. If you have AI, it's okay. And that's simply because of the visibility problem. Just because they can return fire floors above you, it is okay to clear this with AI. Don't be with them, though. Technically speaking, you will be going up the second set of stairs, climbing up to the 3rd floor, and there is like a, imagine these are stairs, and then there is a doorway here that leads into another room, and that leads into like a kitchen or whatever, roughly speaking, like some boxes, and then there's a door here. There's like a divider. Anyway, once you're in that room, then you clear that room by yourself solo, and then you go outside onto the balcony. Then if you're doing AI, you have them clear the downstairs while you are clearing the upstairs. This is surprisingly very effective, simply just because a lot of the time, whenever I come out here with AI, I'm getting shot from the roof or the top, the 3rd floor, I just die so frequently. And even if you can survive, it's just unnecessary and you're taking unnecessary damage. So I just still recommend clearing the top. I can even do that in a future episode, future video. But if you have to clear this, you are going to throw multiple stingers or flashbangs far into the unknown, which is obviously right here. You can clearly see. Technically, I didn't actually do this the best. There should technically be a small thing here. Usually there's like a civilian, but you are just going to stun as much as you can. Localized area, stun over here. And you're just going to push into the room, pretty much flowing and taking points of cover. So that is 23 megabytes, the first room. I will also be doing Brixley's, whatever it's called. I will be doing the spider mission. There's a couple caveats to that. When it comes to using AI, it's kind of more complicated than it seems, because AI are a bunch of dunces a lot of the time. They don't really know self-preservation. If you guys have an area of a map that you want to be cleared and shown visually from a bird's eye perspective in Door Kickers 2, let me know if you're having problems, or let's say you get shot maybe a little bit too often, even though you don't die, maybe you just have a little bit of difficulty with it. Maybe you don't know how to manage the space with your teammates. You're kind of unsure where to cover, whatever it is. If you are having issues with any map or any specific location, let me know down in the comments. I really do enjoy making these videos and talking about them. I find it super fun. Or if you honestly have any suggestion for me to even play a game or something that you'd like to see me make, I can't promise anything, but I'll be willing to make a few maps here and there to show a top-down perspective to really show how to clear and cover areas. But with that said, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching and have a good day.